income.
Great. So that would mean wages, your wages in Idaho would not be susceptible to state income tax?
That's right. Well, you would be still susceptible to federal income tax, but at least at the state level, we would be assigning a value to your time equal to the wage you were paid, and the gain on that would then be zero, because the income tax is really a tax on gains. And right now, we say your time is worth nothing, and anything you get paid on it is a gain, and therefore is taxable.
And where does that bill stand right now?
Well, I had the bill printed. It was assigned a number, but I'm not ready for a hearing on the bill because I've got to do more financial analysis on what the impact of the bill is on the Idaho economy. What the bill does is it takes the income tax off of wages and salaries, and it increases the state sales tax to 8.25%. There's still a little bit of a hole in the state budget, but if I can show through a dynamic analysis that by implementing this legislation, we're going to attract business here, and the extra economic activity is going to plug the hole, I think I can sell it to the legislature, and I think I'll have a good shot at getting it passed.
Great. So this summer you had the ethics panel happen. So tell me about that.
Well, that was definitely a unique life experience. And what happened was, we in America and also in Idaho, we're very concerned about what's going on in Washington, D.C. And I feel as a state legislator that I have this tsunami that's headed our direction with the cap and trade bills, the new health care plan. We're going to be fined through the income tax system for not having health insurance. So how do you fine somebody for not doing something? It seems kind of strange to me. Actually, it's not really a fine, it's a tax. We're going to be taxed for not doing something. But nonetheless, Idahoans are very concerned about that. And Idahoans are getting more serious about their political activism and what they expect from government, particularly their state legislators, and they're looking at more closely as what their legislators are doing. And I feel like we're really getting back to our roots. We're getting back to the principles of the Founding Fathers. And I encouraged a couple of like-minded people with me to run for office, and I supported them. I worked very hard for them, and they won. And some of the more moderate to liberal Republicans were not very happy with seeing these conservatives win, and they attacked me. And I've had an ongoing battle with the IRS for 15 years. I'm hoping to get it resolved quickly. But nonetheless, they dug into the public record, found the IRS liens that were on me, circulated those around the community, gave them to newspapers, and the newspapers went kind of crazy with what they found out. And it turned into a media frenzy. And I think what happened was, with all the reporting that was going on and not reporting the whole story, that I have been paying taxes, I am involved in trying to resolve the issue with losing my deductions. This is an ongoing process. And instead, there was a lot of hype about it. There's a lot of misreporting in the media. And I guess the Democrats felt like they needed to do something about this, so there was some opportunity here. And so one of the members of the legislature filed an ethics complaint against me for having some tax issues. I suppose that was the problem.
Now, one of the charges was that you were abusing legislative power by postponing your suit while you were in session.
Right. Well, it was sort of a little bit broader than that I abused my position as a legislator. I am fighting the Idaho State Tax Commission to get legitimate deductions back that the IRS took away from me that amount to several hundreds of thousands of dollars. And how I've got some particular advantage with the Idaho State Tax Commission is way beyond me. I mean, I feel like I'm being pounced on much more harshly than the average citizen, let alone a legislator. But nonetheless, I'm fighting that battle at the state level. But there is a provision in the Idaho Constitution, which is actually found in 11 state constitutions among the 50 states, which allows the legislator to postpone a civil process while the legislature's in session. And it's not for the benefit of the legislator, it's for the benefit of his constituents, so he can adequately represent them during the legislative session and not be bogged down with things that would distract him and take him away from his work as a legislator.
And that's an important part of our Constitution. It protects our citizen legislators from being hounded while they're doing our work.
That's right. And what baffles me is that's not that difficult an issue to study up on and understand. Nobody that I know of did that except for me. And the ethics charges were filed that I had somehow abused this position. And the reality is, among these 11 states, there's a myriad of court cases. There's 4 attorney general opinions from other states that all fully support what I've done. There isn't a single legal authority that contradicts what I've done. And so I feel like I'm on really solid footing on that issue.
And the panel sided with you this summer.
Well, the panel held back on that issue because that issue is actually being litigated right now between me and the State Tax Commission. The other issue that they did rule on was this supposed Rule 38 violation where I somehow did not disclose a conflict of interest that I might have had on some legislation that I voted on. And the Attorney General's deputy, who was the advisor to the Ethics Committee, actually said in the hearing we had that, well, the charge was filed, and we've basically been on a fishing expedition to try to see if we can find a conflict that Representative Hart had, and they came up empty-handed.
Great. So good spot on your summer. That's really all the questions I had for you. Is there anything else that you want the voters to know?
Well, I hope the people of District 3 and the people from around the state of Idaho that got interested in what was going on with me in the summer of 2010 would not only look at this video, but would also look at my website. That web address is Hart, the number 4, legislature.com, Hart4legislature.com. And look at the documents that I have posted there. I have documents about my battle with the IRS over the names and the addresses of people who bought my book and our ability to withhold those from the IRS. I have the Ethics Committee documents there. I have documents from my ongoing litigation that I'm involved in right now. And I'm trying to be transparent of this issue. And I hope people would understand exactly what I've been going through. And really, I would have this whole thing wrapped up years ago if I didn't stick up for my readers' First Amendment rights and put myself between them and the IRS. And if I had just very quietly turn those names over, nobody would know. I wouldn't have the big liens on me. I wouldn't have had this whole media feeding frenzy this summer or the Ethics Committee challenge. But nonetheless, I don't mind having made some of those decisions. I regret some of the decisions I made in my litigation 15 years ago, but I don't regret what I've done, at least in the last 5 years. And so I hope people will look at my website. And if you're interested in the book, there's a link to it on my website, or you can go right to constitutionalincome.com. It's a good read. I think it's important information that people understand how our government's supposed to work and how it should be taxing us.
Well, great. Well, thank you, Representative Hart, for your time, and look forward to the election.
Well, I'm happy to have this opportunity to get my story out. Thank you.